I grew 54,981 followers on LinkedIn, as you can see. And in this video, I'm not going to tell you how to grow an audience like that, because honestly, you don't need a big audience like that in order to make $10,000 per month on LinkedIn. No, what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to go over 7 key truths that I wish I had known before. So I'm going to give them to you. So make sure to get pen and paper and just write them down, because these are the things that if someone would have told me them, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't gone to these extreme lengths to build an audience like that, because I was always told that, okay, if you have a bigger audience, monetization becomes easier. But that's a very outdated system. So one of the first things, or the first things that I want you to understand, is that you don't need to go viral to get high ticket clients on LinkedIn. In fact, I've gone viral numerous of times, and all of these posts, they were good for my dopamine systems. They were good for my ego, because I'm like, oh damn, I'm getting thousands and thousands of comments and people are raving about it, and I see my audience growing so fast. But then I looked at my Stripe account and I was like, there is a disconnect. And at the same time, or not at the same time, but on the other hand, I have many posts with 20, 30, perhaps 40 likes, booked into 4 calls, resulting into 4 figures of revenue on the front end and 5 figures on the back end. And it's not just me, because I see our clients do the same thing. They have small, tiny audiences. They get perhaps 5, 10, 20, 40 likes a post. They book a few calls, they sign 1 or 2 retainer clients, resulting in 5 to 6 to 7K of new revenue in that month. All from those so-called less performing posts. And at the same time, when we see clients go viral with a post, they just are overwhelmed. They're getting so much like likes and comments and profile views and all these things, but it never really results into business. That brings me to the second point here. Followers are not leads. It's the conversations that leads to clients. So let me expand that. So again, I have a big following on LinkedIn, but at the same time, that's not necessarily directing into business. It's the conversations that I start with people in my audience, with people that I potentially can help with a problem that they might have, with the assets in place that are suitable for us to work together. So we just need a few of those, right? So it's similar to what I teach to our clients. It's like, hey, you don't need a gazillion people follow you. You just need to start the right conversations with the right people. If you start 5 to 10, or if you have 5 to 10 qualified conversations per week, leading into, let's say, 2 to 3 booked calls per week, that's 8 to 12 booked calls per month. Well, if your closing rate is around 25%, which is industry standard, that means that from 12 calls booked, you close 3. That means you sign 3 new clients per month. Let's say your deal size is 1.5 or 2K per month. You see where I'm going with this? You don't need a massive audience, a massive number of followers on LinkedIn to make $10,000 per month. It's just you need the right conversations with the right people, and you need to do that consistently. And that brings me to point number 3. Like Hormozi said this best, boring is better. Like the boring work scales. And after spending 5 years on LinkedIn, trying endless of funnels, like complicating everything, trying different platforms, trying different funnels, trying different content strategies, like basically everything under the sun, I've tried it. The very simple TLDR here is that boring indeed is better. So that's also what we help our clients with. It's like a 60-minute LinkedIn routine, because people are busy. I'm busy. You're busy. Like chances are that you are not a full-time content creator and you don't want to become a full-time content creator. No, you're a business owner, you're a coach, you're a consultant who happens to use or wants to use LinkedIn in order to grow his or her business, right? So what if I told you that in 60 minutes a day, 5 to 6 days a week, or even like 3 days a week. It all depends on your schedule. With 60 minutes of effort, with 60 minutes of like high focused outcomes on LinkedIn, you can easily scale to $10,000 per month. You need to do a few things. You need to create content, which I'll go over in a second. You need to reach out to the right people, which I'll also go over a second. And you need to connect with the right people. It's what I said earlier. It's like the total number of people that you currently have in your audience doesn't really matter that much. It's about, okay, how many new qualified people are you actively adding to your network, starting the conversation with, following up, reaching out, understanding their situation, understanding their business, and figure out if there is a way you can help them, right? So that's the messaging part. Then the other part is content, right? That content creation for what we do on LinkedIn is essential. Like organic client acquisition on LinkedIn, so basically getting clients without spending any dollars on advertisement, you need to spend some time and energy into the content. However, we're living in 2025. ChatGPT, AI tools, they're everywhere, right? So it's very simple, even with ChatGPT and all these tools, to create LinkedIn posts that showcase your authority, build credibility, build trust, build like have your audience get to know you, and based on that, you can start having these conversations, right? So this is also something that we help our clients with. So most of our clients, like I said before, they're business owners. They're not necessarily content writers or content creators. So content creation might sometimes be a bottleneck. However, we found a way to help our clients build very simple GPTs, like a custom AI bot that specializes in writing specific authority content. So the setup takes like 30 minutes, but then they have a copywriter in their business for eternity. And then in literally like 50 minutes or less, they can use that GPT, use that AI bot, so to say, to create all these pieces of content. So we have had people telling me that instead of spending 10 to 15 hours per week on content creation, they now spend 1 hour a week. And to me, that's super valuable, right? Because I'm literally giving them back like 14 hours a week. Like how valuable is that for you? So if you're in a position now that you're spending so much time on content creation, but you don't really see it like getting a return, well, perhaps I can help you out. Like if you go to the description, there's a link that gets you to a page with the video where I explain who I help, what I help you with, and how that works. If it sounds like something that you need help with, just book a call on the page and I can help you from there. But back to the video. So content, like I said, is important. Like reaching out to people and following up. Like these three things is literally the things that you can do in 60 minutes per day. That leads me to a very fourth, very important point. So on LinkedIn, if you're familiar with the platform, people scroll a lot. Like the difference between or like the split between people that create content on LinkedIn and people that consume content on LinkedIn is insane. It's like 1% of people create content and the other 99% of people literally consumes content. So it's an insane opportunity for the people that do create content because there's such a big market. But at the same time, it comes with the challenge or the opportunity that people don't really like to engage, to comment, to expose themselves on LinkedIn if you're talking about certain challenges or obstacles. So let me give you a very simple example. Let's say I sell a weight loss program. So I'm a personal trainer. This is the hypothesis. I'm a personal trainer and I help high executives lose 20 to 40 pounds and get back into a healthy lifestyle. So I create content around that. I speak to the desires, the pain points, the challenges, the frustrations of my target audience. And the people on the other hand, they see these posts and like, oh yeah, this is me. This really resonates with me. Like I would love to solve this problem. Do you think they're gonna go to the comment section on LinkedIn and literally like expose themselves in front of their peers, their friends, their employees, their bosses, their investors, They're like, oh yeah, like I'm out of shape. I need help. Of course not. They're not going to expose themselves because they know that whenever they like or comment on a LinkedIn post, their audience sees it. Have you ever seen that on your LinkedIn feed that you can see what your network likes or comments? So it's a very yeah, it's a very exposed way, right? So just take that into consideration that most of your target audience, most of the people that you try to target, they're watching. They're just lurking in the shadows because they're not comfortable with exposing themselves to like the outside world. But if your content is good, that's what I said in the previous point. If the content is good, you will reach them. It will resonate with them. And if your call to action is good, and you invite them to your private inbox, or your profile is set up in such a way that it becomes very easy for them to reach out to you, either to book a chat, to fill out a form, or to just send you a message, or to book a call with your Calendly, right? The opportunities are endless. But you see where I'm going. So the fact that people do not engage with your post on LinkedIn is usually very normal based on what I just said before. Like, people do not like to expose themselves all the time. And this brings me to point number 5. And that comes down to your offer and your positioning. So tell me, who do you help? What do you help them with? And how do you do it? Like, having clarity on these 3 things, what I like to call as your brand statement, like your North Star, is usually more important than trying to endlessly push content. Because I've seen so many people that have not really a clue of like who they're helping, what they're helping them with, and how they help, and they just endlessly push content. They end up like pushing like the motivational quotes, the carousels, they try to do the LinkedIn shorts and all these things. And that doesn't really end somewhere in terms of like revenue, right? And if you're watching this video, I'm sure you're not here to watch me to listen to me talk about how to get 1,000 likes on your post. I can tell you that, but that doesn't bring in the revenue. No, no, no. I think you're here because you're figuring out a way how to get more clients on LinkedIn, right? Through your content, through your messaging. If that's so, you're at the right spot. Which brings me to the next point, point number 6. So this ties in very, very much with the last point. Like, you don't need more content, you just need the right content. You need the right content that speaks to your target audience, their pain points, their challenges, their frustrations, their obstacles, their desires, all these things that matter to them. And that's what we call authority content. And if you think back of previous in the video where I talked about like the GPT, like the AI bots that we help our clients build, that one is set up to literally spit out authority content. So authority content is a combination between what we like to call educational content, so it teaches the reader something new, but at the same time it builds credibility and it builds authority. Because you and I, we can both speak about, let's say, 10 ways how to like get financing for your house. I'm perhaps not an expert and you're an expert. Like, we can both speak, we can both create an educational post on that. However, if you are, let's say, in the market for 15 years and you've done all these things, you've helped people with this financing, you can like add all the credibility, all the personal insight, all the personal details and the specificity in there. Well, I can just rely on ChatGPT to create a post like that, right? So this is a topic for a whole different day, but I would say the educational only content is dying because information is not a bottleneck anymore. Like, I can literally like come up with an essay about a topic I've never even looked into in 5 minutes, right? But it's the specificity, the personal insights, the case studies, the client wins, the transformation, the personal interest, like all the things that make you you, all the things that only you know because you're interested or invested in a certain topic. So as you're creating content on LinkedIn, whether you follow a GPT structure like I just told you, or you just start creating, like writing from scratch, always make sure that you say something that only you can say. Like I said, everyone can add the educational facts, but not everyone can add your case studies, your insights, your personal interests, etc., etc. So that brings me to the last point here. Everything on LinkedIn will change when you focus on buyers and not on likes. And trust me, guys, this is one of those lessons that after growing to like almost 55,000 followers on LinkedIn, this is one of those things that I wish I'd known before, because I've spent months, if not years, chasing this dopamine, chasing these likes, chasing this the trends. Like, oh, I need to post carousels, I need to post visuals, I need to post shorts, all these things. Well, in the end, the things that matter is starting the right conversations with the right people, making sure I actively add them to my network, make sure that the content is dialed in on like their pain points and showcasing authority, and not just getting clout in the forms of likes and comments and audience growth, etc. And to give you a very simple comparison here, like one of our clients, Michael, like he's a founder of a SaaS agency, and the moment we started working together, he had 221 followers. 12 weeks later, he had signed one customer for his agency worth 7 figures. So I'll repeat it again. He signed a 7-figure deal for his agency with 221 followers on LinkedIn. So come on, like that's insane, right? Like that's absolutely insane. Like some people with 20,000 followers don't even get to that point, right? But you see, it's about specificity. So in the case of Michael, like we helped him craft his message, we nailed his positioning, and we made sure that his offer was so clear that the people he was speaking to were like, oh yeah, shit, I get this. So if this has been helpful, but it might be a little bit overwhelming, you need some help with your LinkedIn game. If you're a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're looking for a way to scale LinkedIn into your next best marketing and sales channel, make sure to hit the link in the description. Go to the page, check out the video, and book a call with myself. And happy to see if I can help you get further. Cheers.